You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines: abusive female ZAF officer sentenced to 6 years in prison. Members of the tourism sector in Livingstone failed to benefit from the 10 billion COVID-19 stimulus package due to unfriendly conditions. Zambian government awards a Chinese firm a 17 million United States dollars water project contract in MPIKA. In international news, UK bans travel from Tanzania and DR Congo over COVID. And in sports news, SAKALA and KANGWANDA to miss Guinea clash due to injury. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television for non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage. Zambia needs Camnet television for national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia. Watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GOVT and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. A female Zambia Air Force ZAF officer has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for cruelty on her 11-year-old niece by the Lusaka Magistrate Court. Mildred Luwaile, age 32, a lieutenant in ZAF, has been convicted of torturing her biological sister's daughter, inflicting her bodily injuries. During court testimonies, it was established that the abusive woman used knives to inflict multiple wounds on the 11-year-old girl, while she would also pour boiling water on her. Luwaile has also been found guilty of torturing her niece using hot spoons, which would first be put on fire before using them on the young girl. The convict also used to tie her niece in chains as she made her sleep in the family's garage on a mat, an ordeal the girl narrated to the officer who rescued her when the matter was brought to the attention of the public. On medical examination, the girl had about 30 multiple fresh and healing wounds on her body, all inflicted on her by her own aunt. Miriam Kayemba has been following this case and now reports.
The prosecution in their submission described her as a seductive psychopath who enjoys the smell of blood. Mildred Luwaile, a Zambia Air Force officer, will now have to spend 6 years behind bars after the court this morning found her guilty for torturing her 11-year-old niece using hot water and spoons. The case, which has taken almost 2 years of trial, was given judgment this morning by Lusaka Magistrate Chavala, who was satisfied with the evidence produced against the convict by the prosecution team. In this case, Luwaile, a lieutenant, was charged with assault on a child contrary to the laws of Zambia. During trial, the court had chilling evidence from 8 state witnesses, including the victim herself, that she was tortured mercilessly under the care of her aunt, the woman she referred to as a mother. Testimony adduced was that Luwaile would inflict pain on her niece on several occasions, the most common one being that of boiling hot water in a kettle and pouring it on her right knee. The victim was also ordered by the convict not to inform anyone about her injuries, and in order not for anyone to see her wounds, long clothes is what she would wear to cover up the injuries. A medical report had shown that the 11-year-old victim had 30 wounds on her body inflicted by the convict, which were healing at different stages. Other evidence before court also showed that 80% of the victim's skin was burnt. When trial commenced in 2019, the convict denied burning her sister's daughter with hot water, claiming that the girl was possessed and had a tendency of fabricating lies. In her defense, Luwaile called 4 witnesses, among them her husband, who is also a ZAF officer, who denied his wife committed the offense and said he wouldn't want his wife to go to jail. However, there was enough evidence against the convict which corroborated with all testimonies given by the witnesses. The convict also admitted to one of the witnesses that she had inflicted some wounds on the girl because she used to mistreat her 1-year-old son. Magistrate Chavala also found that despite Luwaile knowing that she had inflicted pain on the girl's knee, she never took her to the hospital for treatment. The magistrate concluded that the accused was the author of the criminal activities and that pouring of hot water on the girl was unlawful. The reason behind the ZAF officer burning her knees was that a bucket of hot water from the brazier slipped off her hands and spilled on a child who did not get burnt. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Still from the courts, a woman accused by Labour and Social Security Services Minister Joyce Nondesimukoko of having stolen 15,000 kwacha from her has been acquitted by Magistrate Felix Kauma. Magistrate Kauma set Nyembezi Masie free on account that the minister during trial failed to provide sufficient evidence against the accused person to warrant a conviction. Ms. Masie, 47, of Chilenje Township, as secretary to the minister, was charged with forgery, uttering false documents and theft. But the court found the accused person not guilty of the charges leveled against her due to the lack of compelling evidence. After the ruling, Ms. Masie could not hold herself as she wept upon hearing the not guilty verdict. Ms. Masie has been on suspension from her government position following the allegations leveled against her by the minister. And moving on in the news, a bridge in Livingstone's SAKALA village has been washed away by floods. The washing away of the Nansanzu bridge has left several people stranded on either sides. The residents have since appealed to government for urgent assistance in the unforeseen circumstance.
Bridge ni Natanzi River, amene bridges etuma kuenda kumukuni village, Karaluka village, Chikume and the other villages. Bridge yazura manzi ambili. So bantu ambili bakangirwa kupita chikupa cha bridge yazura manzi. So wapempa government batambize ko so that bridge waifangi. Bantu ambili bayembekeza kupita yazura kuma 16 hours up to now. Bridge ikabona kutira manzi ere kuti manzi apakiratu kuri bakazi bamene basusiya manje apa kuma 16:30 baenda na manji tibazibikana komene bafikira komene ko baperera ko fabricate twaipimira na beve bafika tunabaone komene bando fika somewhere. Bridge ndiye tumaujinisa kutoka kudara na kudara manje wa government yamba kudera kutari report kozi twaonera hapo pale isemanje tupempa ko batangize ko pale bridge amene bantu bambiri bana basukuru nje amene bawozinisa amene bridge.
Government has awarded a Chinese State Construction Engineering Corporation a $17 million United States project for the construction of the water supply and sanitation infrastructure in Muchinga and Nakonde district. The project is under the Integrated Small Towns Water Supply and Sanitation Project Muchinga Province. President Edgar Lungu, who commissioned the project Friday afternoon, says the project has been financed by the African Development Bank. The head of state says over 650 jobs will be created for the local people in the district. And Muchinga Province Permanent Secretary Joyce Nsamba has urged the local residents to desist from vandalizing the project. Details in this report.
Water and healthy sanitation has continued to be a challenge in some parts of the country, and this has resulted in animals and people sharing the same water source. The consequences of such acts have resulted in the outbreak of diseases such as cholera and dysentery that have claimed lives in the country. But the story is about to change for MPIKA and Nakonde residents, where government has launched a $17 million United States water and sanitation project. Republican President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who's in the district for a 3-day working visit, has since launched the project.
Ladies and gentlemen, clean water supply to our people and good sanitary facilities remain top on our governmental agenda as a patriotic government, because we are conscious of the fact that good water supply is essential to ending poverty in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the project we are launching today would not have been possible without the support from the African Development Bank, ADB. In this regard, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the country manager of the African Development Bank for the gesture, and we look forward to more cooperation and support of similar projects in the future. I also wish to thank other cooperating partners for supporting various water supply and sanitation projects in the country.
And Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection Minister Raphael Nakachinda says MPIKA alone will benefit about 11 million worth of the investment.
In this regard, China State Engineering Construction Corporation has been awarded, Your Excellency, a contract sum of $17 million to undertake water supply and sanitation infrastructure development in MPIKA and Nakonde districts. Your Excellency, out of $17 million US dollars, MPIKA will get $11 million US dollars worth of water supply and sanitation infrastructure development. And as such, the contractor is expected to avail business opportunities, and Your Excellency, here I need to emphasize. As such, the contractor is expected to avail business opportunities to local contractors in MPIKA worth $2.12 million through the actualization or implementation of the 20% government policy of subcontracting local contractors.
And MPIKA District Permanent Secretary Joyce Nsamba is confident that the project will ease the challenges of water in the district.
I wish to urge the people of MPIKA to avoid vandalizing the investment that is being put in place at a very huge cost, so that even the future generations can benefit from this project.
China Construction Engineering Corporation has assured its full support in the project.
The construction period of this project is 18 months, and the contract sum is 18.6 million United States dollars.
Vandalizing of state property hampers development as progress remains stagnant. It is therefore a collective responsibility of all citizens to guard the infrastructure with jealousy. Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
A youth activist, Mwapem Sonda, has called on government to float shares of Mopani copper mines on the Lusaka Stock Exchange so that the local institutions and individual citizens can buy them. Mr. Msonda believes this will benefit the country, as the money will be remaining in the country when the mines pay out dividends. Zambia's State Mining Investments, ZCCM-IH, has agreed to buy Glencore's majority stake in the Mopani copper mines in a $1.5 billion United States deal funded by debt and will seek a new investor. He notes that mining in the country has always benefited foreign investors, hence he feels the move to take over the mine as progressive.
These companies always threaten government with job losses in the mines, and so as young people we are happy with this move, because we are hopeful that this issue of job losses will be a thing of the past. And we just want to appeal to government that they should offload the shares of Mopani copper mines on the Lusaka Stock Exchange so that they can give an opportunity to Zambians like you and me as well as institutional investors to buy shares in Mopani Copper Mines, because when we buy shares in Mopani Copper Mines, for example, institutional investors such as NAPSA, Zambia National Building Society, and the Public Service Pensions Fund, these institutions are well known for buying shares and other financial assets in various companies. So when they buy shares in Mopani Copper Mines, it simply means that when Mopani Copper Mines declares dividends, these companies will be able to reinvest back into the economy. Same applies to individual investors such as you and me. If we buy shares in Mopani and we get the dividends, what will happen is that we are going to reinvest this money back into the economy, as opposed to what happens to these multilateral companies. When they get the dividends or when they make the profits, they actually expropriate these profits to their countries of origin. So we welcome this move because we understand it will result in economic growth of our country, which will give more opportunities for employment as well as entrepreneurship for young people. So that's why we are particularly happy.
President Edgar Lungu has expressed sadness at the death of two Catholic priests, Father Charles Chilinda and Father Patrick Atanga, who both died in Lusaka. President Lungu says the two fathers were renowned priests who supported government's efforts in uplifting lives of Zambian people and the vulnerable. The head of state described Father Chilinda as a charismatic priest who advocated for civility in politics. And United Party for National Development UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema says the late Father Chilinda will be remembered for his dedication to communication, marriage encounter, and facilitating peace and reconciliation among God's people. Meanwhile, the Catholic Media Services and the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops Communications Commission has described the death of Father Charles Chilinda as shocking. In a statement issued to Camnet TV News, CMS Director Winfield Kunda says Father Chilinda was part of the growth of the Catholic media in the country, who impacted greatly both church-run media outlets and secular ones.
We at the Catholic Media Services CMS and the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops Communications Commissions, we have received the sad news of the demise of Reverend Father Charles Chilinda SJ with a sense of shock and grief. Father Chilinda has been part of the growth of the Catholic media in Zambia. He greatly impacted both church-run media outlets and the secular ones. In his quest to feed the nation with right information, Father Chilinda traversed this country and beyond, resulting in the production of well-researched programs that we aired on various media platforms. Through Loyola Production Studios, Father Chilinda has helped in recording and archiving many events of the nation and the church, which shall be referred to in many years to come. Father Chilinda also contributed greatly to the establishment of the Catholic television stations in Zambia. He was a member of the Lumen TV steering committee at the time when the Catholic bishops were planning to establish a national Catholic television station, which we now call Lumen TV. It is also through his leadership that Father Chilinda managed to set up a Jesuit TV station, which we call Loyola TV. The demise of Father Chilinda is a great loss to both the church and many students in various institutions of learning whom we spoke to on film production. The Catholic Church in Zambia and the region at large will greatly miss his advice on various media and communication issues. On behalf of the Catholic Media Services and all our Catholic media houses dotted across the country, we send our heartfelt condolences to the Jesuit community, the family and his friends on this great loss of a priest that took advantage of his ministry as a shepherd to bring peace among our nation political leadership.
Zambia has in the last 24 hours recorded 8 COVID-19 deaths, bringing the total number to 610. The country has also recorded 1 COVID-19 associated death, while 4 deaths are pending classification. The country has further recorded 1,120 COVID-19 positive cases in the last 24 hours out of 9,809 tests done. The new cases bring the total number of positive cases to 43,333. These statistics are courtesy of the Ministry of Health. We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
The Cowbell Choco formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs. Tasting Cowbell Choco gives you the get up and go to be at the top of your game. Now with Vitality Plus Iron. Great tasting Cowbell Choco, a creamy chocolatey drink that helps give energy to get up and go.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crispy, fresh apple taste from the garden. Can I have the apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy waziwaka. Give us your
enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an happy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an happy drink. And now introducing Happy in a can.
Dr. Bigron, usayibala komunti enda ukuni gift na land. Uchitenkubeti uibise mojo basayone. Oh! Mwina mushi, nakuletera njinga. Latest inalufesi gear na mawaipa.
Difficult chidi ashiria njinga. Liam 19 pendef kondo. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipu sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a Camnet, difficult.
It's communication. We got it. Indemoni! Powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mufumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muli bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bikron, utole noleta nchemfule mungani. Ngecho wachira pose na nchitinshi. 1, 2, 3, both of you. Kabala ngempang. Don't be stupid. We got it.
Hello, have you heard about MPIKA? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, MPIKA is here. Advertise on MPIKA between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
MPIKA, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Kobil filling station in Lundazi district of Eastern Province has been overwhelmed by motorists intending to buy fuel after the station received some supplies. The district has been without fuel for 5 straight days, bringing economic activities to a standstill. Motorists, especially taxi drivers spoken to, explained that the fuel shortage in the district has impacted them negatively on their business. Government, through Energy Minister Matthew Nkua, has assured the nation that government is working hard to normalize the situation.
One week.
Oh.
1 week. Japan 1 week not sure.
So ne first time yo bwera ko.
Yo bwera ko. What's the deal? Kulaka 5 visitors like 200. Wakanga 5 visitors. 1 month. Not sure. So atikanzeko kunonga zima vuto. Sikamba kudala kuti vikashiwe tukula kushipata lomba gokam every day. Siza problem hapa nje sibula petrol kuno.
So mama taxi ya msana affect bwanji.
Ya tukuza kwambi. Sisenza bwino kai. Sisenza bwino. Sisenza funa petrol ya mene. So pesa kuti abamjira petrol lomba kuweka 2.5 okuwa kuza 100 kwashi. Mwaona somba mundama sana 2.5.
Muni peshini.
Mwaona. So kama tuko tumaliza kalida mdala. Sababu gani zako kana petrol.
Okay.
Hello problem shini chani. Kuli petrol chani.
Bueno, vakaendelea hapa. Faidi vudo kai. Sasa kana 4 days no mafuta. Inoja fine. Unaona? So no tunashindwa tu 18 hours furahi yamba. Nafika kuimba ndio kwanza. Lazima vudo.
Haini.
Ndio mafuta manini. Koma mabwezeko.
Okay.
Mitengo ya mafuel yaenda maningi. So babwezeko. Baone pamene tilili hapa tilipa nthawi yoipa manini.
And Zambia National Commercial Bank Head of Economics and Research, Dr. Patrick Chileshe, says lack of dollars in the Zambian economy has adversely contributed to the current fuel shortage. Dr. Chileshe says oil marketing companies are having challenges importing as well as finding dollars on the Zambian market, making it difficult for them to buy the commodity. He says the recent downgrade on the country's sovereign credit rating has resulted in foreign investors shunning from investing in government Eurobonds, limiting the flow of dollars in the country. Zambia currently grapples with a backlog of foreign currency orders manifesting in dollar scarcity as a consequence of acute supply and demand mismatches. Meanwhile, the commercial bank has projected that the country's inflation is expected to reach a high at 20.6% in February 2021. Dr. Chileshe says the fish ban as well as shortage of maize grain are the major contributing factors to the rise in inflation, the highest in over 50 months.
We have very few foreign investors who are coming into the country, especially those who invest in government bonds, because those are expected. They usually convert their dollars into kwacha. Now, because of the recent sovereign credit risk downgrade, these investors are afraid to invest in Zambia because of the risk that the Zambian assets actually carry. So because of that, we have a limited supply. The Bank of Zambia, as well as government, also removed a lot of supply from the market. Yeah, you remember when they decided to ask all the mines to pay in dollars. So those dollars previously used to provide supply for those who wanted to import goods and services. Now, because those dollars are no longer available to the market, there is no supply on the market, which is also causing a lot of stress for importation of goods. And you've seen what has happened with the shortages of crude oil, petroleum products at most stations. That is related to that. Why? Because you have a situation where oil marketing companies are having difficulties to source dollars to import, because we import these products from abroad and you can't pay for them using kwacha. You and me, we buy fuel in Zambian kwacha, but we need to raise dollars to actually import this from other countries. Now, because the oil marketing companies cannot find dollars or cannot easily find dollars on the market, we are having a situation where the supply of the supply of fuel is very, very low.
The Lusaka City Council has recorded a 17% drop in revenue collection in the 2020 financial year. LCC Public Relations Manager George Sichimba says the drop has been attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which saw some businesses being partially or completely closed. Mr. Sichimba says owners of affected businesses and individuals who depend on them for income defaulted on their obligations to pay for municipal services due to loss of income. He says the 17% drop in revenue during the period under review translates into about 53 million kwacha. He explains that the situation has created pressure on council finances, resulting in delayed payment of salaries to employees, among other financial challenges.
People that were affected could not manage to pay for municipal services, and so it led to a reduction in revenue collection for fees and charges by 17%. The council had projected to collect about 321 million kwacha, but only about 268 million kwacha was collected. So this has resulted in a pressure on our coffers, leading to delayed payment of salaries. But the council hopes that with the 2019 valuation law being approved and being implemented, will mitigate some of these challenges that we are facing. It is hoped that the new valuation law will bring on board 210 million kwacha as compared to the 2013 one, which was rated at about 80 million kwacha.
The Livingstone Tourism Association of Zambia, LTA, says none of its members have accessed the 10 billion kwacha COVID-19 stimulus package due to its unfriendly conditions. Association chairperson Rodney Sikumba tells Camnet TV News in a telephone interview that the interest rates ascribed to the package are unattractive considering the COVID-19 has continued to affect the tourism sector. He also says there are currently no tourism activities in the southern parts of the country due to the second wave of the pandemic. He says fewer local tourists were spotted visiting the tourist capital during the festive period, but that businesses have gone back to zero activities. He says there is need to urgently control the spread of the virus in the country and open up the local market and not wait on the international market.
The 10 billion kwacha, which was released by the Bank of Zambia as the COVID relief fund, was indeed released to the commercial banks. But unfortunately, the commercial bank were a bit hesitant with regards to accessing that fund because we were going to get it at commercial value. So the banks, as it were only giving out that fund to clients of theirs who already had the facility. When I say already had the facility, are people who had already done a due diligence. So an operator such as myself, who was new to the bank, not necessarily new, but who's never gotten a facility, would need to go through the mill of having to apply and obviously show a bit of collateral with regards to the relief, and as well the interest rates which were attached to that relief fund was not attractive. So I do not know of any of my members who access that fund, but I can safely tell you that I don't think there's any. So as we speak today, we don't have activities. What most of our members are doing now, taking this opportunity of the quiet period to just sanitize the facilities and obviously get their staff tested with regards to.
A policy think tank has urged government to continue consultations with local industries, private sector players and civil society organizations to review and plan for the potential benefits and the costs of the TFTA as well as the AFCFTA, which is currently in force. The Center for Trade Policy and Development says Zambia's decision to ratify the tripartite free trade area agreement is a commendable step towards increased regional integration in Africa and ultimately continental integration. TFTA brings together 28 countries with a population of over 7 million people and a combined gross domestic product GDP of 1.4 trillion United States dollars, while the AFCFTA connects 1.3 billion people across 55 countries with a combined gross domestic product GDP valued at 3.4 trillion United States dollars. CTPD researcher trade and development Emmanuel Muma also thinks that the start of the TFTA and AFCFTA will create opportunities for bigger export growth, value addition, sector-specific growth, and diversification to take advantage of. He notes that despite the envisaged benefits from the TFTA as well as the AFCFTA, Zambia is expected to face increased competition from other international products. Mr. Muma says it is important for government to address concerns about the low performance of Zambia's industrial sector and the limited support towards supporting entrepreneurial growth. And moving on in the news, a disability organization in advocating for the creation of sustainable empowerment opportunities by coming up with a disability empowerment fund in the wake of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. Born Short Livingstone Executive Director Ntalasha Chisha says persons with disabilities are the most hit with such calamities like the coronavirus strike, thereby making their lives even more difficult due to their physical status. Mr. Chisha believes that the creation of a fund by government specifically for differently abled persons will send a strong message of government's resolve in empowering the minority in society. He says the fund will help persons with cross-cutting disabilities become self-employed, as they will be able to develop their own entrepreneurship capacity and spur them to own and operate their own businesses just like able-bodied persons.
We have noted and observed that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, persons with disability are living in abject poverty because of the limited opportunities available for them. They are the most marginalized and excluded by society to date. Furthermore, differently abled persons do not enjoy access to society on an equal basis with others, which includes areas of transportation, employment, and education, as well as social and political participation, among others. As such, the creation of the Disability Empowerment Fund will no doubt help differently abled persons become self-employed, as they will be able to develop their entrepreneurship capacity and spur them to own and operate their businesses just like able-bodied persons. This will also assist persons with all types of disability to achieve their maximum level of sustainable independence and contribute to the economic growth of our country, as they will be equal participants in the development agenda.
We take our second set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
You know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin. 2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television for non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage. Zambia needs Camnet television for national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia. Watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GOTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, the UK has banned all arrivals from Tanzania and Democratic Republic of Congo from Friday to stop the spread of the South African variant of COVID-19, Grant Shapps, the transport minister, says. Earlier this month, passengers from 11 other Southern African countries were banned from entering the UK for similar reasons. The Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Thursday said the continent's COVID-19 death rate now stands at 2.5%, higher than the global average of 2.2%. It listed Democratic Republic of Congo among 21 African nations with a death rate above 3%. The authorities in Tanzania have downplayed the extent of the pandemic in the country and have not been releasing any data in infections or deaths. In June last year, Tanzanian President John Magufuli declared that the country was coronavirus-free thanks to prayers by citizens. However, the World Health Organization expressed concern over the country's strategy on COVID-19. The authorities from Tanzania or the DR Congo have not yet commented on the development.
The detected South African variant has raised concerns over the efficacy of vaccines that have begun rolling out across the globe. This is according to preliminary research that found the variant poses a significant risk of reinfection. Several other variants have been detected in recent weeks across the world, specifically in the United Kingdom and Brazil, that threaten immune responses regardless of whether one has been infected or vaccinated. The United Kingdom has already launched a vaccine rollout of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, with approximately 4.6 million people already having received the vaccine doses. Kenya is also set to benefit from a partnership to administer the vaccine, with the first few doses expected by April this year. The UK recently recorded their highest deaths to COVID-19 with 1,820 deaths in 24 hours. In America, President Joe Biden signed a series of new executive orders to curb the COVID-19 pandemic, including a vaccination campaign to administer 100 million shots of a COVID-19 vaccine in 100 days.
Our national plan launches a full-scale wartime effort to address the supply shortages by ramping up production and protective equipment, syringes, needles, you name it. And when I say wartime, people kind of look at me like wartime. Well, as I said last night, 400,000 Americans have died. That's more than have died in all of World War II.
The country will also see tighter travel bans to the U.S. and the safe reopening of schools. The Federal Center for Disease Control and Prevention said about 15 million people have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. 2.4 million people have already been fully vaccinated. The USA is the hardest hit country with over 410,000 deaths since the pandemic began. Currently, there are 2 million fatalities around the world with over 97.4 million infections and over 70 million recoveries recorded.
We now get into sports news. And in sports news, Chipolopolo team Dr. George Piri says midfielders Benson Sakala and Albert Kangwanda are doubtfully for Saturday's Group D Titanic clash against Guinea due to injury. In an interview with the FARS media, Dr. Piri explains that Sakala and Kangwanda were undergoing rehabilitation and may not be ready for tomorrow's African Nations Championship fixture. The duo also missed the opening match due to injuries sustained in training, but will be available for the final group game on January 27th against Namibia. Meanwhile, Dr. Piri says primary results indicated that the team was in good health as regards to COVID-19 protocols. The Chipolopolo play Guinea on Saturday in their second Group D match at Limbe Stadium. Guinea tops the group courtesy of a 3-0 bashing of Namibia that edges out Zambia's 2-0 win over Tanzania.
At the moment, the team is intact, except for a few players, two players. That is Benson Sakala and Kangwanda Albert. Benson Sakala has a muscle strain in the right side, and we are managing him. He should be ready in the next 3 days to start full-time training, but for now we are still managing him. Then Albert Kangwanda has an ankle sprain on the left side. He's also undergoing the management. We expect him also to be ready for full training after 3 days. We have also done the COVID testing in preparation for the game against Guinea. And according to the preliminary results, we seem to be okay and very ready for the game.
That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Abusive female ZAF officer sentenced to 6 years in prison. Members of the tourism sector in Livingstone failed to benefit from the 10 billion COVID-19 stimulus package due to unfriendly conditions. Zambian government awards a Chinese firm a 17 million United States dollars water project contract in MPIKA. And in international news, UK bans travel from Tanzania and DR Congo over COVID. And in sports news, Sakala and Kangwanda to miss Guinea clash due to injury. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Psalms 119, verse 9 to 11, and it reads, "How shall a young man cleanse his ways? By taking heed and watch according to your word. With my whole heart I have sought you. Or let me not wander or step aside from your commandments. Your word have I laid up in my heart, that I might not sin against you." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.